Because if I'm marrying a man, if my man says to me, I'm putting this ring on your finger and these are my expectations, that I'm going to tell you how to jump and how high and what to wear and when to eat and all this other stuff, I'll be like, take your ring back, sir. Thank you.
That's an extreme. But Professor, go ahead, man.
I appreciate Uma, and she's definitely shed a light on some things, and I realize that men to women don't mean anything. We don't, because when you go to work, you don't wear those scantily clad clothes. And if you did, you get sent home. So they'll listen to the boss, the colonizer that's paying them, but they won't listen to the man that's marrying them. So I see where we stand now. So I appreciate that perspective, because they definitely tell you what you can and cannot wear to work, and you definitely comply to that. So I appreciate that perspective. Thank you.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you know what I'm about. So let's get to it. Believe it or not, this conversation has actually come up multiple times, even way before I ever saw this clip or this clip came through my feed. It's one of the things that, honestly, I've asked so many black women about, and I could never get a hardcore true answer. In fact, the next interview that I try to put together is probably going to be one of the things, if I can get 2 or 3 black women to come together, it might be one of the things that I ask them. But I believe a lot of it honestly comes from our society, right? Because our society that we live in now is so different than, really anything that humans have kind of dealt with before. So let me take a step back and, get into what we're talking about. So the main thing here and the main issue, and a lot of men have been talking about this recently, is that there are a lot of women, this is just women period, but we really see it in the black community. And there are a lot of women that will listen to their boss at their job quicker than they will listen to their own husband and or fiance. Like, I don't really give a flip about boyfriends so much, right? But when you start to talk about fiance and you start to talk about husband, those men should be the number one human being that you listen to on this earth. In fact, I'll make sure that I throw up a chart, so we can take a look at it and make sure that people understand. See, a woman is supposed to line herself up with the type of man that she's looking for so that she can lean into his leadership. And when a woman finds a really great man that can lead and that knows how to love her properly, she's going to have the best life ever. But when she doesn't do these things, when she finds any old man, or she just finds the man of her physical sexual dreams, but he doesn't have a lot of substance, that is really the recipe of having a very hard life. When we really check out a lot of the women out here who are complaining about men, and we really peel the layers back, right? Because you got to peel the layers back. Because if you listen to 1 minute or an hour of someone talking about something, they're not telling you everything. They're just telling you this moment in time. And when they say things like black men or this or that, okay, again, let's pull up everything. Let's go all the way down this line. Because you will have women, okay, and I'm not beating up on women here. I'm just trying to get to the bigger point. You'll have women that will say there's no good men out here, but in the same conversation, they will say good guys finish last. I don't want the good guy because he's boring. And it'll come out of the same mouth. And so what's happening here is that we have this whole concept where the woman knows what good men look like. She knows what they feel like. She knows who they are, but she doesn't want them. What she wants is she wants the sexual guy, the guy who has her sexual fantasy, to do the good things that the good guy does. And see, that's where the problem is. And to be honest with you, like I told you, men can fall into the same trap. Because a lot of times some of the kindest women on this earth, the sweetest, the most supportive women on this earth, a lot of times they aren't that attractive. And it's because they were humbled through the fact that they weren't as attractive, they become kind. Right? And that's why I always, I used to say in CSC all the time, Christian Singles Connect, is that I always loved a woman who had a really bad high school. When she was in high school, she was not cute. Like in middle school and high school. But then she, gets into college or whatever afterwards, and then she glows up. Those women are beautiful, kind, and supportive. But a lot of times when they were cute in high school, right, they think that they're all that in a bag of chips by the time you meet them at 22. But again, that's another story, right? So you have to start out with this whole concept of what women are looking for, right? Because women want the full package the same way men want the full package. Both sides want the full package. That's why I can't really beat up on women for wanting the full package. However, the concept here is that a lot of these women that want this full package, but they were not able to navigate to the full package in their youth. And they decided to take the attractive package, the man that had the attractiveness that they wanted, that moved the way that they wanted, they spoke the way that they wanted, but then that guy had no leadership ability. He was not kind. He was not loving. Okay. He did not respect her. Okay. He was probably cheating on her. So it's this guy, okay, that she has spent most of her youth with. And this is where a lot of men agree, they see it. They see it over and over again. Right. And so then they get angry. They get angry because they spent time with the wrong man. Instead of taking accountability, and again, this is one of the things that's trending in our world. Instead of taking accountability, they say, oh, it's the man's fault. It's men's fault. It's white men's fault. It's black men's fault. It's Latinos men's fault. It's Indians men's fault. No, boo, it's your fault. Because you knew the difference, but you still chose what you wanted. Now, we have to take that energy and now we have to compare it to the job. All right? Remember, back in the day, okay, and even one of the tenets of the non-negotiables is the provider. Okay, it's the provider. So now what used to happen was the man had all this money or whatever it was, and then he gets married and he provides for his wife. He takes care of his wife. All right. And even if he doesn't take care of all the bills, he takes care of enough for her to have a really great life. But what has happened is the job has come in and the job provides money. So the job has become the provider. You see how this is working? The job for many women now is the provider. And many women feel as though they understand the rules and regulations on their job. And even though they might not like their manager or they might not like this, that, and the third, they feel that they have more power within the job itself. And then the job is allowing them to do and move with what they want to do in their life. So they can buy their house, they can buy their car, they can do all these things, right? So now what happens is when the man comes in and says, hey, babe, when we go out, I would love for you to wear a nice dress. The woman says, I don't have to listen to you. But then when the job comes in and says, okay, on Friday, we have visitors coming in, all the women wear nice dresses, she says, okay. Because her provider is now her job. And she's looking towards her job to be her man. And we're in a situation now where women are not respecting the men because they chose bad men originally. Men that might have hurt them. So now new men are coming in, taking the brunt of the pain and the anguish that the woman is dealing with. from her past that she says she's healed over, but yet she judges the new man with it. And then she's leaning into her job, believing that her job is going to take care of her. Now I'm going to give you guys something else, right? One of the things that you'll know about women is that women are very loyal. Okay, in general, they're very loyal. People have talked about this in so many different avenues. In fact, to a degree, women can be manipulated because of this loyalty. One of the things that happened, in the past, like I said, I'm just being real with you guys for a second, is you'll have things like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, New Edition, Jackson 5, all those things, Temptations, right? When we start to look at, all these boy bands, you find that the women are extremely loyal to their boy band, extremely loyal. But then you'll have things like Destiny's Child, whether y'all believe all the stuff that's going on Beyonce or not. Like I said, that's not on, the topic today. But you can Google it or YouTube it, to find more information about what people are saying about her. But what you find more often is you see that with the women groups, there's not as much loyalty. Men are not as loyal to the women. They're not as loyal to the women. Men tend not to do that. And because of that, people have used things to manipulate women to hurry up and make a lot of money. And because women generally spend more money, all right, especially if they're not in a relationship, there's a lot of people out here and businesses out here that are geared towards taking women's money. It's not about solving women's problems. It's more about, okay, well, let's talk to the problem so that women can understand it and so that they can see that their feelings are validated. And we're going to use that to make millions upon millions of dollars, right? And I've talked about that because, again, it's not just in the Black community, but even when you have boy bands and other things like that, people have actually done the work to put those together, even formulating which songs to sing, to know which ones will really key in on the heart of women. And so because of the loyalty, women are more loyal in the job. So women are less likely to leave. They're less likely to bump the system. They're less likely to cause a problem. So now you have this perfect scenario situation from a company perspective. But what it does to the woman is it puts her in a place where now she is leaning into the company to be her provider. She's leaning into the company to, in a lot of ways, be her husband. Because the job tells her what to do. It tells her when to get up. It tells her when to go to bed. It tells her what to wear. There are women out there that will dress up for their job, but they won't dress up for their husband or for their boyfriend or their fiance. And this is what men are talking about. Because when you do this, it's out of order, right? The order is God comes first. Then comes your person. If you're a man, it's your wife. If you're a woman, it's your husband. Then the children come. And we have to recognize we have an enemy that wants to destroy marriage. And what he's doing is he's giving all of us all of these ways to get what we crave, but not get it from our person. We have all these things with OnlyFans for men. So now you can lust over the woman all you want. Or you have porn, so you can lust over the woman all you want. You need somebody to cook? Oh, cool. We have all these services that will deliver food. You need counseling? Okay, we've got therapy everywhere. Where it was a time where a man would just go to his wife and say, babe, can I just talk to you? And the counseling session was him putting his head on her lap and releasing the pain of the day. But now it's another service. Like I said, we had an issue over at Christian Singles Connect because we have open forum. You know, when we talk about and discuss issues over at Christian Singles Connect, and one gentleman came out there, and there was nothing wrong with his feet, nothing wrong, no fungus or anything like that. But he asked the women, "Would you rub my feet if my feet hurt after a long day of work?" And over 50% of the women said, "No, I will not touch your feet. I'm willing to pay for a masseuse for you, but I am not going to do it." We keep basically outsourcing all of the needs of the other person. No wonder marriages are falling apart. Because a woman is now saying, okay, I don't need a man for money. And this is what women are saying over and over again, right? Because I have my job. My job is my money. And they say, I don't need you to protect me because I have cops that will protect me. I have my security system that will protect me. I get a big dog and that'll protect me. And I don't need your leadership because I have other things that will lead me. I have YouTube people that I follow that will lead me. I have people on TikTok that are going to lead me. I can go to church and the pastor is going to lead me. How easily both men and women, we're confused and we end up in this broken situation where we don't understand what everybody's supposed to do. Like I am not, like I said, I've never honestly been to a masseuse in my entire life. And I've actually had women, you know, a lot of women that I've dated and different things like that. And they'll talk to me about it. They say, oh, you should go, you should go. They come up with all these things. And I'm always saying, that's your job. I tell them straight up, I was like, that's your job. And then they look at me funny. And I'm like, no, I was like, I don't want just anybody touching me. I want the woman that I love touching me. Okay? I mean, people half naked and stuff. I mean, y'all seen videos and movies and stuff like that where people rubbing all on their back and thighs and stuff like that. And a lot of these masseuse parlors, you know, here in Atlanta and other places, they got, you know, sexual activity going on behind the scenes. Okay, let's be real. There is a spiritual connection with when another human being touches another human being. That's why in certain countries, people don't touch, they bow. Because they know about the spiritual connection, okay, that happens when two human beings touch each other. We have to remember that we are under attack. And marriage is under attack. Okay, it is, to me, it is a woman's job, like I said, to massage me. It is a woman's job to do all these things that I can outsource. And if a woman wants to outsource those things, then in my mind, she is not walking as a wife. And being a wife is work. Being a husband is work. Okay? It's not sitting back letting somebody else take care of you. Everything in life is work. Have you ever thought about when Moses was walking through the wilderness for 40 years? I often think about this. The Israelites pretty much didn't have anything to do. When they left Egypt, Egypt had made them all like millionaires. And if they weren't millionaires, they were like 100,000aires. Okay, because they were walking with all this wealth, all this cattle, all these sheep, all these things through the wilderness, right? And really all they had to do all day was just tend to their cattle, their sheep, all the other stuff that they had with them. That's really all they had to do. And God pretty much provided water and all this other kind of stuff. But then something happens with the manna, right? And what God would do every day is he would provide manna for them. So he's providing direct food so they don't have to eat their animals. Isn't this how crazy how God works? They can easily slaughter those animals. But he's like, no, I want those animals to continue to grow and multiply, so I'm going to provide you food. And he did. But every single morning, the people had to go out and they had to gather manna, right? And it's these little thin, flaky things, right? And based off of, you know, how I've heard people describe it, it's like they would pull them up and they would kind of break apart. So they were kind of like crackers. So the whole land was covered in like crackers. But a person had to gather enough up for the day for them and their children to eat. Think about that. Think about having a 2,000 square foot house covered in crackers. And you have to pick up each and every last one of them because you're going to need literally bowls of them to eat. Because one cracker ain't going to do it. So now you got to bend down, pick it up, throw it in a bucket, bend down, pick it up, throw it in a bucket. That might have been 2 hours every day, them just collecting manna. And they were complaining about collecting manna. But see, I think a lot of times when pastors, like I say, teach information, they don't get everything that's going on. They're so focused on the hope. God will provide your needs. I'm telling you, just like the manna from heaven, God will provide your needs. But understand this, they had to work for it. They had to work for it. Every single day they had to work. 6 days of the 7 they had to work. And on the 6th day, they had to do twice as much work. God could have easily, and he's done this before in a couple of stories, where he literally put food or something, like with the oil, when she was pouring out the oil. I forgot exactly where that is in the Bible, but there's a thing where the oil jar doesn't stop running. But God didn't do that. He made them work for it. He could have easily, like I said, had a bowl. He said, everybody dedicate a bowl to me. And every time you reach in and you pull out, there's going to be manna. No, he didn't do that. And the reason why he didn't do that, because he wanted them to work. There has never been a time where God is saying it's okay to be lazy. But we live in this environment where everybody wants to be lazy. And why do you think everybody wants to be lazy? Is because you're leaning in to what the devil wants. And have we really ever seriously looked at celebrity lifestyle? Most people that have all this money and all this power that don't work, they end up with all these emotional problems. They end up with all these issues in their relationships. And it's like their whole life just crumbles. You know, their own drugs and all these other types of issues. When you work and you find peace in your work, it blesses you, right? So just like God is saying, y'all have to work. You know, Israelites, you have to work. A marriage is work. The man is not there to serve the woman 100% of the time. It's all about the woman. Let's lift her up. Let's give her the soft life. And the woman is not there to make him super king on the throne. He don't never have to do nothing. He can just sit back and be like, baby, where's my food? Give me my food, my burr. I'm about to watch the game. That is not what marriage is. It is a cooperation of work. It is the enjoyment of saying, I want to massage my husband's feet. It is the enjoyment of saying, I want to rub my woman's back. It is the enjoyment of a woman saying, I love to cook for my family. It is a man saying, I love to build on this house, cut this yard, work on these things because I want my family to be proud of where they live. It is not an attitude of, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't listening to no man. No man gonna tell me what to do. Okay, be alone. And don't be angry and crying the blues. I've always encouraged women on all the videos. You cannot find a video where I'm not saying women, pick well. You have choices. Pick well. Don't pick the man that just because he's drop dead walking in sexiness. Pick a man based off of his heart and his mind. I'm always saying that to women. Heart and mind. Okay, pick well. Men, don't just pick it because she fine. Because she got big breasts and big booty. Okay, don't pick based off that. Pick because she's kind. Because she's supportive. Because she'll love you. Right? And I'm always saying to both sides that most people are attractive. So work on your attractiveness and let other people speak to you in that attractiveness. I'm always telling you all, if I marry a woman tomorrow and she is more into a certain look, like if I marry a woman from Nigeria And, you know, if you ever seen the Nigerian guys, they dress different. Even when they put a suit on, they put on it in a Nigerian style. So I know if I marry her, she's going to have me dressing like that. And I am not going to resist, okay, her trying to get me to do that sometimes. Why? Because that is what is attractive to her. And when I'm encouraging her to do certain things, okay, I would believe that she would do the same. Because that's what's attractive to me, right? And so you can work this attractiveness thing, but we're allowing ourselves to put way too much pressure on it, not believing that we ourselves are great. And I'm not saying this to like gas people's heads up. I'm trying to give you encouragement here to believe and know, you know, that you can have it, but you got to work on it. Anyway, I don't know. This one kind of, I guess I went into a whole nother direction with it. Hey, you know, God is on me this morning, you know, and it is what it is. But yes, you know, when you're dealing with women like that, you got to let them go, guys, men that are watching, let those women go. Get women out here that are willing to follow. A woman that is not willing to follow, you don't need her. Okay, and I don't care what race she is. I don't care how pretty she is. You don't need her. Anyway, there's information down in that description. Go check that out. Please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.